Yeah, what's up? What's good? What is happening? Welcome to this live stream. We are the Sports Bar here at WTF Nation Radio. I am the actual King Smith, and my producers need to get on the ball here. All right? Be sure to hit that like button if there's a like button on the platform that you are watching on. The Sports Bar here at WTF Nation Radio is a regularly scheduled live stream and podcast in which myself and an Army veteran coach who is not going to be here tonight again, we talk about all things sports, right? Things in the sports world, life in general, right? We'll be here for a little bit over an hour or around about an hour tonight, talking about a couple of different topics. We're going to discuss Juan Soto's record breaking contract with the New York Mets and how that will impact future contracts and how MLB owners are looking at paying their franchise players and the value that they believe that they could get from them. We're also going to be discussing Brett Favre and how Brett Favre's got beef on these internet streets. One of the former sack record holders had some in-person beef with Brett Favre at a sports memorabilia event in which he had something to say very publicly to him over something that happened decades ago. We'll be talking about that as well. We're also going to discuss Travis Hunter winning the Heisman for the Colorado Buffaloes. He is the second Colorado Buffalo player to receive the prestigious award, but it didn't come without a little bit of controversy in what was the smallest margin of victory since 2004, in which he beat out second place runner-up Ashton Gentry, who a lot of people felt like deserved the Heisman. We're going to talk about that as well and other stuff, all right? So, before we get into the sports subject here, let me drink some water. We also want to acknowledge WTF Nation Radio's mom. WTF Nation Radio's mom, grandmother, passed away the other day. She was battling some things here towards the end of her life, and she did not make it. So, while mom is dealing with the loss of her grandmother, I want to say, may she rest in peace. And mom, we got you. All right. We got you. All of the other hosts and followers and supporters of WTF Nation Radio want to give her a salute, and you as well. Let's acknowledge and see who we have here in the background. We got Joseph Tress said, we let Squidward win yesterday. Oh, we're going to talk about that one too, Joseph. We're going to talk about how Army had a phenomenal season, wins their conference, and gets smacked up by the Navy in the annual Army-Navy game that was presented by USAA. I wish I would have went to that game. All right. But they got smacked, upset, all right, and dominated to secure the Commander-in-Chief's trophy for the first time since 2013, I believe. I did have that as a note somewhere, but we are going to talk about it. Okay. Excuse me. All right. So without further ado, we got God Happen to Me, and the King and Me's in the building. Said good evening and hello over on Facebook. I appreciate you tuning in. Hope y'all staying warm out there. It snowed here in Maryland. I was not ready for that. I was not ready for that one bit. Okay. So let's get into the first topic here. Let's get into Juan Soto's record-breaking contract here. And I've got to bring up some show notes, so let me get that going here. And we're going to talk about it. Y'all, look, I messed up. I should have played baseball instead of football. I should have taken the time. My dad, I blame you. I blame my parents. My parents weren't sports people. My dad, good guy. He's awesome. He watches my live streams. Never made it to a single high school sporting event that I did. And I was a starting running back. You know, besides the quarterback, The running back in the day anyway was the premier position. I didn't want to be the quarterback. I wanted to be the running back. I wanted to be the guy that ran the ball, carried the rock into the end zone, and smiled and punished defenders while I did it. Yet my father, because of varying religious reasons, did not attend a single game, right? But I should tell them to take a look at some of these MLB players' contracts and say, why didn't you put a glove in my hand when I was 5? Right? Shohei Otani is Japanese, and that fool's probably going to end up with $1 billion when it's all said and done. And you got Juan Soto with the New York Mets hit a cool lick where he signed a 15-year, $765 million contract that previously surpassed Shohei Otani's $700 million with the LA Dodgers. It's even believed to be the largest in all team sports history inside of the U.S. It's hard to kind of get these assessments and figures from sporting teams and other leagues outside the U.S. The 15-year length is also notable as it exceeds Fernando Tatis Jr.'s 14-year deal with San Diego. The New York Mets believe that Soto brings long-term value, and they decided to back up the Brinks truck and pay him for it. Now at 26, Juan Soto is already considered one of the best hitters in baseball. And he also has a proven run record as he's able to make it to the plate at ease, consistently getting on base. The New York Mets owner, Steve Cohen, has shown a willingness to spend a big deal to build a winning team, as this deal solidifies the Mets as a major force in MLB and signals their intention to compete for championships for years to come. But I want y'all to think about this. How will Juan Soto fit in New York? I'm not a baseball person. I keep track of a lot of the major news. I tried to go to an Atlanta Braves game when I was down in Atlanta a couple of months ago, but that hurricane kept me from attending the event, right? I also want you to think about this too. Juan Soto, right? Who did he play for prior to joining the New York Mets? All right. He played for the New York Yankees for 1 year after leaving the San Diego Padres. So he's going cross town, stayed in the state, but is going to, the Yankees would say, those guys, leaving the Yankees and going to the Mets. If you're a baseball fan and you're a fan of the New York Mets, you are likely happy to get yourselves a superstar. Okay. And I put his contract in as $750 million. Let me edit that. Let me give that man his flowers by adding that extra $15 million here up on the screen. Okay. So I'd like to know what y'all think. Do y'all think that he fits the Mets play style? How do y'all think that Juan Soto will play? Does he play and earn that $765 million over 15 years? I can't imagine committing to a sport that plays that many games that long. I don't know if I could do it. Let me come in here and check the comments. You know what? Pop Culture Warrior said, I need a teleprompter. Shut up. Because I know why you said that. You know what I could do? Let me do this. Let me see if this helps. I'm going to do something here. This is likely going to make my stream look weird. All right. How's this? Yeah, so here's the thing. Pop Culture Warrior said that baseball is mostly just standing around. They've made some changes and stuff to make baseball a lot faster. But at the same time, from the fan perspective, If I were to say, all right, cool, I'm going to be able to play 15 years. So yeah, 15 years just standing around and I'm getting paid millions of dollars to do it. I changed my mind. I could, but I'd want to get that early, right? So he signed that 15-year deal at 26. So that's going to make him what, 41 by the time that the deal's done? And let's say he plays out the entire 15 years and then he retires at the age of 41. He would likely have made some money. I'm curious, what will, let me see, how much would he have earned to include his salary the first few years that he was in MLB? How much would Juan Soto have earned total at the age of 41? Let's see. It's estimated that he would have earned just under $1 billion total for all of his contracts that he would have had during his first 5 or so odd years in the league, or 6 years. Let me see. How many years has he been in? So since 2018? Ridiculous. Ridiculous. He's been an all-star the last 3 years. Oh, man. Yeah. To my dad, you and mom should have did a lot better in putting me a baseball glove in my hand. I didn't start playing football until I was in the 8th grade. If I would have had the foresight to know that people would have been getting $700 million contracts, I mean, all I would have done would have been training, doing the things that I need to do to stay academically eligible, and then just train. Stay away from alcohol, stay away from drugs, stay away from women, and go get this $1 billion. Want to give a shout out and a huge congratulations to Juan Soto here. Let me see if I can get this up on the screen. Let me get this up on the screen. Boom, boom. Man, when I make the switch to OBS, that is going to be interesting. Here we go. Shout out to that man right there with his old jersey on, as he is now a New York Met. We're going to give a big salute here to Juan Solo. All right. Let me go take a look at the comments here, and then we're going to go over to the next subject. Pop Culture Warrior said, I'm not built for baseball. Hey, Big Poppy doesn't look like he was built for baseball. I mean, I could come out here. I'm not built for baseball now. But back in my heyday, man, be slapping home runs out the park. I'd be the guy that'd be pointing every single time, like, just like this. Pointing my home runs out and slapping them every single time. Yeah, take a look at this shirt. It's what my lady got me. The sports bar here at WTF Nation Radio. He said he also should have got his salary in Bitcoin. Hey, Bitcoin is now reached an all-time high again I saw it hit 105,000 per Bitcoin. Y'all remember when a couple of NFL players did it several years back when Bitcoin was less than 38,000 per Bitcoin? Or I want to say around the height of the last cycle, it got up to about 50 or 60,000. I can't think of what the exact number was off the top of my head. And there were several players in the sports realm, notably Odell Beckham and a couple of other players in the NFL, who took some of their salary in Bitcoin. And then Bitcoin had a crash, and people were like, see, that was dumb. I wouldn't have done that. Yada, yada, yada. Well, if those same players held on to that Bitcoin now and decide to make a sale at its current price, they're making out like bandits, and everybody else would have looked foolish. They would have looked foolish. Okay. Next thing that we're going to talk about, I'm going to acknowledge something here. I'm going to acknowledge that WTF Nation Radio does have a fantasy football league. It was 10 players. We really only had 9. There was one person that came in twice and we couldn't fill out his team. So I'm going to showcase. I started out good, but ended with a record of 7-7 and did not make the playoffs. But Pop Culture Warrior did, who had the same record as me, and he's going up against Team Radar. And as of right now, Pop Culture Warrior is projected to win at least this round. Okay, as we are a 2-round playoff, so there's no bye week. We only did the top 4. Our league was free to join. I didn't advertise it that well. That's on me. But this is our second year running it. Next year, I'm gonna look at building it up, but I'm gonna ask some people to put some skin in the game if they want to do this. Because when it's ran for free, there's no incentive to really keep up and manage your team. But there has to be some type of incentive because I'm actually offering a prize to the winner. CQ said that if he didn't make the playoffs, he was going to plus up the pot, but his lucky ass did. So I'm hoping that while week 1 has him get edged out, that when it comes to week 2 in the playoffs, in the first round, that he puts up like 40 points and Radar puts up like 160 and he turns around and beat him. But look, Radar produced really good with the exception of his lowest scoring person, Travis Kelce. Travis Kelce only putting up 6.7 against Cleveland. Ugh, that's nasty. But catching 32.5 from Brian Thomas Jr. was awesome, to include A.J. Brown, who I thought was going to go off. He ended up scoring, I think, just 1 touchdown, but I hoped he had 3. I did a $50 DraftKings bet at plus 10,000 that he was going to score 3 touchdowns. So that $50 would have turned to a cool $5,000 had it hit, but it did not. But look, CQ got lucky everywhere. Puka Nacua going off on Thursday night helped him in that stupid low-scoring game. Justin Jefferson's projected to go off against Chicago, whose defense can't cover a toddler out there playing in the league. And Jaden Daniels had a surprising 2 touchdowns real early. Both of them come in like in the first quarter, I believe, and then kind of fizzled off in the rest of that game. And who would have projected the Broncos going off and having as good as a defensive stand that they did? Why couldn't you play somebody else? Why couldn't you have played Pickens at the flex, CQ? All right. The other 2 people competing, Flash's Revenge, who I think made it to the playoffs last year, and Coach. Coach started, I want to say Coach record when he started was kind of trash at the beginning. And then he made a run at the end or towards the second half of the season. My favorite to win overall is going to be Coach, and I hope that that's what happens. And it looks like coming into week 15, he's going to have a good edge going into week 16, playing in the second round, combined round against Flash. So my projections of making it to the championship weeks, which is a combined 2 weeks, it'll be week 17 and week 18, is going to be Coach against Radar. That's what I want to see. That's what I hope happens, as I can't stand anything that CQ is a part of where he's winning. I need to make him a loser at all costs. Okay? Let's come in here and check the comments before we get to the next subject. CQ says soon to be champ here. That's wishful thinking, boss. That is wishful freaking thinking. Okay. Let's get into it. Let's get into it. Speaking of this Squidward here. Oh, what happened? Army. Let's just share this screen here. Well, the annual Army-Navy game, in which the currently 9-3, Navy midshipmen came in and curb stomped the Army Black Knights, led by Navy's quarterback, who carried the ball a whopping 25 times for 204 yards and 2 touchdowns. If y'all don't know, the Navy run that triple option in which the quarterbacks essentially are running back who will sometimes throw the ball, in which the quarterback did going 4 of 9 for 107 yards and 2 touchdowns. But Army couldn't stop the run. They ran it down their throats. Let me clear my throat. All right. When you take a look at the full team stats as well, some stuff that stood out to me is they were almost equal in a lot of different things. They both were 100% converting on fourth downs. They both were equal in total first downs. But take a look. Take a look at the total yards. Navy's defense kept Army, who had been averaging a respectable 315 yards a game on offense, to under 200. And they kept that Army rushing game down to 113 total yards on 39 attempts. To run the ball 46 times total is ridiculous, but this average, 5.9 yards per carry versus 2.9 by the Army. This right here is not going to win games. And the few times that the Navy did pass the ball, they averaged 11.9 yards per pass, while Army only averaged 4.1. They played a phenomenal defense. The time of possession by both teams were almost even. But in the end, the Black Knights, who had a real good season this year, fumbled the ball in the end and got rocked by people who wear their names on their ass. I want y'all to think about that one. The Navy wins the Commander-in-Chief's trophy this year, and we give a salute to them. Let's check the comments here, see what anybody had to say about that before we get to the next subject. CQ said, Army was tired from winning all those games this year, including the ACC championship. They're not, you said ACC. Hold on. They're not in the ACC. They are in, let me see. They're in the, I can't think of the conference off the top of my head, but we can do this. Standings. The AAC, the American Athletic Conference. I'm like, I knew it was at the ACC. The ACC is the Atlantic Coastal Conference. That puts them in the same conference with Miami, Clemson, and SMU. All right. Army, while they had a good year, they're not winning these 3 games if they were to be playing in the ACC, but they're in the AAC, the American Athletic Conference. And look, they came in and they represented, right? Going 8-0 inside of the conference. But I mean, who did they play in the conference? Let's check their schedule. Who did they play? I mean, they did 20-3 against the Air Force. We ain't gonna talk about that. When they actually played somebody, they got spanked. Was it a year for the ages? Yes. Yes, it was. Those cadets can hang their hat, especially those that'll be seniors and this will be their last time playing football, to know that they went through and ended up going 12-2 going into a bowl game. Okay. Speaking of bowl games, I didn't even have this on the show notes, but we are going to talk about it as well. Let's check the comments here. Said, did Air Force beat Army? Shut up. Shut up. All right. And he said, that's the ranked 18 Army. Better put some respect on that name. And you had to correct it to rank 22. Yeah, they dropped down a bit, homie. Look, the Air Force, they struggled this year. But the Air Force Academy, them zoomies out there, are going to end up getting things right. I ain't worried about it. Matter of fact, declaration right here and right now. CQ, I know that the stream's a little bit behind, so I'm going to give you time to listen to this one. I will say, let's do a small wager. $20. $20 that Air Force not only beats Army next season, but they win the Commander-in-Chief's trophy by beating Navy as well. $20. What say you, CQ? Do you take that bet? Let's see. That Air Force wins the CNC trophy. How you spell trophy? That looks right. That don't look right. There we go. I always want to spell trophy weird. Whatever. You know what I'm trying to say. I'm going to call it Commander in Chief Cup next month or next year. Next year. He said, ooh, better idea. All right. What's the better idea? Let's hear this. Loser buys the winning team's jersey and wears it for the show. Okay. Because it can be difficult because I added the Commander in Chief's trophy. Let's just scale it down. Let's just say in the Air Force Army game, I got Air Force, you got Army. Loser buys the other team's jersey and wears it for a show. If you accept those terms, we have a deal. I will gladly watch you wear an Air Force Academy jersey, football jersey. Absolutely. And look, if I have to wear the Army's jersey for a live stream, Army's jersey is the kind of fire. I wouldn't mind that. They have the dopest ones out of the teams between the Army, the Navy Midshipmen, and the Air Force Academy. I believe that the Army Black Knights have the better football jerseys. I like the color scheme. I like how it's set up. All right, he has agreed. He has agreed. We have a bet. Man, I wish I had my soundboard going. We have a bet. All right. For those of y'all that are just watching here, I bet Pop Culture Warriors own CQ that next season the Air Force Academy and their football team will beat the Army Black Knights, and the loser of our bet will have to buy the other team's jersey and wear it for a show. CQ has agreed to that as he presented it. I made one modification as well. He agreed to it, and we have a virtual gentleman's handshake. All right. Ooh, we've got almost 100 people watching live right now. Give yourselves a round of applause. Again, if there's a like button, y'all see the blue thing scrolling down there. Hit that like button. Let me see if I can follow this. Hit that like button. That helps us out on the algorithm. Let me come over here to the Sports Bars Facebook page and see if we have any comments over here before we continue. I have to do this kind of different here, but I want to acknowledge anybody that might have comments over here. We have no comments over there. All right. Next subject here. Brett Favre and Mark Gastineau's beef. They got beef in these streets. Okay? So, for those of y'all not keeping up, that's where I come in. If you take a look currently at the official sack leaders, okay? The official single season sack leaders. Currently, it is tied by two people. The most recent happened in 2021, and it was with TJ Watt out of the Pittsburgh Steelers. But back in 2001, Michael Strahan got it on one of the easiest sacks that anybody could have ever gotten against Brett Favre. And even when it happened, a lot of people thought that it was kind of cheesy the way that it had occurred. As Brett Favre's team had the game, they didn't really have to throw it, yet they did. Brett Favre did what he does. He scrambled, he moved around, and then as he turned around, he saw Strahan right in his face, so he just kind of gave up, and Strahan went and touched him. And that is how Michael Strahan broke Mark Gastineau's record that had been held since 1984. Now, Mark's record has since been tied by Justin Houston out of Kansas City back in 2014. But in 2001, right, Michael Strahan beat it by half a sack. Okay, 22 versus 22.5. Now, Mark Gastineau is not a household name, right? He played for, I was hoping to have this up. He played for a couple of different teams, drafted by the Jets in the second round, played 137 games, right? And had a total of 107.5 sacks. All of his, he played his entire season, 10 years, all with the New York Jets. Hey, I can dig it. I can respect that. But unless you're a defensive person or you're a Jets fan, you've likely never heard of Mark Gastineau. Now, Mark's not in the Hall of Fame, and he was betting on that record and what he had to be able to statistically get him voted in. So when the sack record got broken by Michael Strahan, Mark Gastineau was pissed because he felt like a business decision was made that's going to tarnish his legacy. Again, it's been beaten. It got tied once in 2014 and beaten back in 2021, as I stated earlier. But as you can imagine, when it happened live, Mark wasn't too thrilled. He was not too thrilled. So, I'm sorry, not 2024, but back in 2021 when it was beaten by TJ Watt. So, Mark came on, and there was some controversy, and Brett Favre, about 5 days ago, came out and said this: I want to clear the air on the footage that was released showing a small dust up between myself and Mark Gastineau, the former New York Jet. And actually, I'm just going to show this up on the screen here. Let me bring this up, and then I'm going to read it along with y'all. He said, back in 2002, when Michael Strahan sacked me at the end of a game that we had wrapped up, I was in no way trying to hurt Mark. I was trying to close out a game and squeeze the last bit of fun out of a hard-fought game. I booted out of a run thinking that it would be wide open, and I saw Strahan standing there and ducked down. The game was over. There was no need for me to do anything spectacular, and it probably wasn't Michael's best sack or tackle for a loss. In a different game or situation, I would have made a bigger effort to avoid the sack or tackle for loss. But at no point was I thinking about hurting Mark. Maybe it crossed my mind to help Strahan. I didn't think it through. That wasn't my forte at the time. I just wanted to have fun and compete. But in retrospect, I understand how Mark feels. We played a brutal game. Mark played during an era where guys didn't make generational wealth. I see how being the sack king would elevate his value at card shows, strengthen his case for the Hall of Fame, and increase his demand as a public speaker. So now we're getting into the business aspect of all of this, which is why at a sports memorabilia card show, Mark and Brett Favre had a little bit of a dusting up, and I don't have the footage to show it here, but I figured that or we could just talk about it. Brett continues to say, I had no way of knowing that then. I realize now the potential financial implications because football is far more business oriented than when me and Mark played. There was no malice on my part. Mark was a great player. My understanding is he was a great guy and a fun teammate, a guy who played with the kind of joy and passion that I tried to mimic. I understand his frustration, but I'm not his enemy. A while back, he saw me at a card show, and he got some frustration off his chest. It's not the kind of moment that should be filmed and released. It was a private moment of frustration between two old football warriors. I have a great deal of respect for Mark, and I hope that one day he gets to join me in the Hall of Fame. He earned it. Take a look at his numbers. He's eclipsed 20 sacks twice, and he had 19 in one of the other years. Mark definitely left an indelible mark on the game. What does indelible even mean? Let me look this up. Anyway, I hope this controversy brings attention to just how great Mark Gastineau was. He belongs in Canton. Merry Christmas, Brett Favre. And this is the picture that he's referencing. Okay. So I didn't have the film ready to showcase it, but when I initially saw it, I was wondering what the frustration was and why somebody was going to be coming after Brett Favre. I thought it might have been over the misappropriation of funds that got Brett Favre in the news over the recent years. But nope, it was not. Let me see. We got some comments here by Michelle Early. She said, "Hey sir, your comments aren't linked." No, the sports bar's comments don't make it over to here because our station manager won't allow me to add the sports bar onto Restream the way that I would like to. But when I go over to OBS, I need to get with CQ to figure out technically how I can get all the comments to show up in one place. CQ, is that possible? I need to know. He said, "You've got comments here, YouTube, and the other Facebook pages." Oh, my YouTube. Oh, yeah. YouTube's not showing up here. Thanks for letting me know. I got to bring that up. Give me 1 second. Let me bring up the YouTube channel. All right. Yeah. They were showing earlier. I shot because I saw your YouTube comments earlier, but they are not popping up. I got to be sure to come over here and check that out then. All right. So now that I've got this set up, at least I can see them. I can acknowledge them. Like I can see that David Cunningham's commented over on the Sports Bars page. I want to thank y'all that are watching over there as well. That helps us out. All right. But should Mark, here's the question, going back to the Mark Gastineau and Brett Favre situation. Should Mark have approached Brett privately? Do you think if he would have came to him and said, "Hey Brett, I can't go to these car shows anymore with the theme, the Sat King. Now it's got to be former Sat King." And this is hurting my value overall. I know that you being in the Hall of Fame has you not worrying about money, and you're over here stealing and misappropriating funds from people in the state of Mississippi, but I got to worry about how to feed my family. Do you think you should have took that conversation privately? I believe so. The king of me said, "Why am I making that wager?" Look, I'm going to tell you right now, when I make bets, I'm like a little pixie that once I start talking, the world figures out that King is making a bet and all things fall into place. I'm going to win the bet. CQ is going to wear an Air Force football jersey. And I'm going to take a picture with him when he does it. Okay? All right. Let's see. David over on Facebook said, "Mark sounded like he's a little mentally unstable. He may have CTE." So you watched the video then, or you at least heard it. Good. Good. He 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 sounded frustrated, which I don't blame him. I don't blame him for being frustrated. I mean, it is an old beef. One would want to go, why now? Especially since the record has been tied once and broken by another player as well. So to have your beef with Brett, I think it's misplaced. I think you just let it go and you just shrug your shoulders and say, it is what it is. That's my thing for most things, really. It is what it is. Okay. Just give me a second. This is where if I would have had a co-host, I could sip on water while the co-host does his talking. We haven't had a coach's rant in a while. Before we get to the last topic, Coach is still with us. If y'all be like, "Hey man, King's had a solo show for a couple of weeks." If you've missed the last couple of weeks, Coach lost a family member and has to take care of some business. Today, he was unable to make it due to other obligations. And if you're not keeping up, this is our last show for 2024, as the station will be taking a holiday break. So we will not have a trivia for the month of December, as the sports bar will not have a show the 22nd, nor will we have a show the 29th. We will be back in full form with our first show of 2024, January the 5th. And I got a couple of things in store. Got a couple of updates that I've made. We're going to add some pizzazz to this live stream that we offer. I'm the only show that doesn't work off of OBS. And back in our team chat, our team is giving me the business about it. But I'm going to have some pizzazz coming up and offer some things and bring y'all some of the best edutainment going into 2025 around all things sports and life in general. So be on the lookout for that. Let me check and see if I have any more comments to acknowledge before we go to the final topic for tonight. I see we do not. So, last topic for tonight. Travis Hunter winning the 2024 Heisman. Let me bring up my show notes here. Okay. So, Travis Hunter was one of the Heisman finalists who it was believed to be between him and Ashton Gentry. And when the numbers finally came out, it was a lot closer than people thought. And it led a lot of people to talk about this one as the number of first place votes. It was close. It was marginally close. So I'm going to bring that up on the screen here. And I'm going to show the amount of votes that Trav had. Look at his smile. Boy, that is a man that is cheesing. Okay? So if you take a look at the total votes, it was only going to be between those two. This past week, a lot of people made a push to have Ashton as the guy that was going to win. They felt like statistically, when they compared Ashton Gentry's number against other running backs like Derrick Henry, Reggie Bush, that he's had better numbers. They say that if you would have taken Travis Hunter and you put him up as just on one side of the football, yeah, he did statistically good on one side of the football. But he didn't do great as just a defender. He didn't do great as just a wide receiver. He definitely was outstanding on both sides. I'm definitely not saying that he didn't play average. No, that's not the case. He can be a focal point, but in the league, in the NFL, most of the professional players are saying he's going to have to pick one side. They even talked about Charles Woodson, who played on both sides, and Travis Hunter's stats dwarf Charles Woodson. Now, that's one that you can compare. Charles Woodson was a both sides of the ball player, and so is Travis Hunter. And Travis Hunter had a way better season than Charles Woodson did. But the athletes of today, because of the miracles of modern science, can play a lot better, and the game's a lot more faster. And there's a couple of other factors that would have definitely made Travis Hunter's record season this year better than how Charles Woodson's Heisman season looked. But I don't think that he deserved a Heisman for what he did. Okay, I think he played phenomenal. But the Heisman, now, if you want to make the case for Travis Hunter, here's some things to consider. He's acknowledged as a true game changer, impacting the game on both sides of the ball that's rarely seen in today's modern football. You have a lot of athletes that excel at what they do. They want to specialize on one side, but there are several players like Travis Hunter that could have played on both sides. And Coach Prime decided to let Travis Hunter, as long as he was conditioned properly, play on both sides of the ball. right? His versatility and athleticism are unmatched. He is one of the best people out on the field. Let's acknowledge that, right? In the league, if he plays wide receiver, hope you don't catch a slant. Because the boy gonna need to either bulk up or learn how to dodge some hits. Ask Devontae Smith about how people hit in the league, okay? He also became the first player in NCAA history to win both the Bednarik Award, which is the best defensive player, and the Biletnikoff Award, which is the best receiver. And people that want to talk about the best defensive player, they can say, okay, he could have deserved to win the Bednarik Award. I'll give him that. But there was another player that was first in every wide receiver category possible. And for him not to win the best receiver award, I think was a slap in the face. Right? Now, if you want to make the case for Ashton, Ashton's rushing numbers off the charts. He was a workhorse back who carried Boise State's offense and put up video game-like stats. In a normal year, his performance would have been enough to secure the Heisman. If Travis Hunter was off the field, let's say if he was injured, let's say if he graduated last year, or for some reason he sat out this year, Ashton is winning this by a landslide as Dylan Gabriel, Cam Ward, and Cam Scatterbo wouldn't have had enough votes against Ashton. They just would not have done it. But ultimately, Travis Hunter won, all right, in which he also gave a tearful, emotional Heisman speech, talking directly into the camera to his father, who's also named Travis Hunter. Let me grab my phone here in case my producer is sending me something. They are not. All right. So, congratulations to Travis Hunter for winning the Heisman, but it did not come without some controversy itself. I believe it was last week I talked about Travis Hunter's girlfriend, who I don't even know what her name is, okay? But she was all in the mix, again, for doing the wrong things. And before I show this video, I said this. People know who Travis Hunter is if you follow sports. People don't know who Travis Hunter's lady is, his fiance. Apparently they're engaged to be married. After Travis Hunter and Colorado's last home game and their last regular season game, they were seen embracing, and Travis was trying to give her a hug, and she kind of curved him a bit and was apparently upset about something. You can say whatever that something is. There's a lot of rumors and speculation about what it was. One of them is he caught a pass or he did a play and apparently was flirting with some cheerleaders or whatever. And they were she caught it and apparently had something to say about it. Okay. Now, he has doubled down since that moment got caught in which his lady curved him. He's doubled down and saying, she did nothing wrong. That's his lady, all this and that. Like, I'm excluding the noise. What we have is good. But everybody else outside of that relationship is saying, bro, she ain't it. She's not the one. She's not supportive of you. She's going to baby trap yo behind, almost cuss. She's going to baby trap you, secure the bag, and then walk out. AKA Lonzo Ball. I mean, I could list several athletes that this have happened to. The interesting part about this is that Coach Prime brought in Brittany Renner to come in when I want to say he was at Jackson State. I don't think that this is when he was at Colorado. But he brought in Brittany Renner, who's a known, how do I say this? A known harlot? I'll say it that way. She's known for getting into young rich athletes' beds and extracting resources. I'll just say it like that. Coach Prime brought her in to talk about the dangers of being preyed on by women who see them as dollar signs. Travis Hunter's girl's been with him since high school. She's apparently 2 grade years above him. So when she was a senior, Travis Hunter was a sophomore. And there's a lot of things that have been dug up about the way she viewed him in the beginning. She said normally he wasn't her type. There's a lot of different things that people are talking about that are trying to say, bro, in 5 years from now, you're going to realize that she's going to be the reason why you're not great. And I agree with it. I'm going to showcase 2 videos here. Let me bring up video number 1 that occurred when Travis Hunter won the Heisman, that even before the controversy around what she did at the last home game, this by itself is one of those things that you just go, watch out. Okay? So that's her right there. And the person that posted this on Twitter or X said, Travis' girlfriend giving him attitude for taking pictures with fans at a scheduled event. Am I supposed to just sit here all day? Nah, bro, get rid of her. So I'm going to be quiet. Listen to what she says.
All right.
So she says, where do you want me to be? And then, am I supposed to just sit here while you take pictures? Bro, the Heisman is for you. Okay? You're there to support him. Sit down and shut up. I said on a different platform that she needs to be trained. She needs to be trained. Make me bigger. She needs to be trained. Because whoever's telling her things isn't telling her the proper or the right things. You don't distract this man like that. Okay? Let him be great. Let's run it back.
All right.
Am I supposed to just sit here then while everybody take pictures? Shut up. Yes, you're supposed to just sit there and shut up.
You go to the hotel, you go walk around. Five o'clock, everything starts.
We're gonna go. We can't find Matt. I called him twice.
Where's that coming from?
What's that?
Oh, that's
Sit there and be useful. Take pictures.
Trev, we're gonna take one as a group and that's it.
Look at her. Look at her. Oh man. Man. That's only one video. That's only one. The one that I found before that one had to do with when Travis won the Heisman. But before I play that, I'm going to come in here into the comment section and see what y'all had to say, because I think the comments started to light up. All right. We got David Cunningham. He talked earlier about, he said, wrong, Deion played on both sides as well. True. He talked about, oh, this was earlier. I'll come back to that. So Travis Hunter, we got, I pray he doubled down on his prenup. I would bet that because of how goofy Travis Hunter is, he doesn't have one. He seems like the type that would go, my baby love me, I don't need one. Michelle said that I'm a staunch advocate, believer, and supporter of prenups in all capital letters. Do it. She said, AKA she's a hoe. I think he was talking about Brittany Renner when he posted that. Michelle said, even if you have nothing, do it. Yeah, do nothing. I'm sorry. You're saying even if you have nothing as far as a prenup, do it. Yes. Yes. Because these could be interesting when it comes to how do you handle stuff like, let's say you're about to get there, like the one Tyler Perry movie in which the guy had this invention or this idea about something, acrimony. I can't think if that was the one. And he was almost there, and he was married, and his lady didn't believe in him. They get divorced, and whatever invention he had goes off, right? And he's a multi-millionaire, and the ex-wife was nothing. I think, yeah, I believe that you should protect yourself no matter what. Like, it doesn't matter which side of the coin you're on, whether you're Travis Hunter or you're Travis Hunter's fiance, you should protect yourself. Okay. Phil Leach said she looks so sad that the attention isn't on her. Cry us a river. Again, do we even know her name? David Cunningham said Travis's girl gives me Brittany Mahomes vibes. Look, we know Brittany's name. Brittany's all in the mix. And if you think about it, oh, David, that's good. Brittany and Travis's fiance were about the same age. Brittany said the same thing about Patrick, in which Patrick was, I think she's older than Patrick. And Patrick wasn't necessarily like her first choice, or they weren't like always together like that. All right. Let me take a look at this. I think David just brought up an excellent point. Brittany Mahomes' age. Yeah, so Brittany Mahomes is 29, and Patrick is... Okay, so they're both 29. I thought that there was something there with them not being in the same grade as well, but I was wrong about that. Speaking of Patrick Mahomes, he got injured today. I think that the Chiefs' Lucky Charms or four-leaf clover is about to lose a leaf. But Michelle came back over on Facebook and said, I have faith in my man and our relationship, yet prenups protect both parties. 100%. I feel that it's fair to say I love you, but if we don't work out, let's leave with what we came in with and equitably split what we've earned together. I have no issues against that, right? No issues against that. Like if we came in with nothing, but then afterwards built stuff together, then yes, everything from that union should be. But if I had $100 million before I met you, or vice versa, let's say you were the person that had $100 million and I came in with a net worth of $8, right? If we don't work out, the split should be everything that was earned after you and I became together. But the stuff that you might have inherited that was part of your family before you and I got together, I shouldn't be entitled to that. And I think that people that go after that kind of stuff are the worst human beings out there. The worst human beings out there. Phil said, watch, when they break up, she'll claim he has CTE like what Josh Allen's ex did. Yes. Hey, look, y'all are on it tonight. Let's play this other video. I've got this the other video here, which was one of the other ones that people were talking about what Deion Sanders needed to do to okay. So looking at the screen here, you have all of the Heisman finalists sitting in the middle, and you can see Deion stand up immediately once Travis's name gets announced. Travis is down right there in the blue suit. He's taking it up. Now, Travis's mom stands up. Okay? Now, you see Deion. Look, right here. Deion is like, yo, stand your ass up. So she stands up. Travis walks over, and he hugs her first. Then the mom, and the mom has an embrace. And look, she sits back down. As if the mom still, okay. The mom sees her sit down, and I think she's gonna go find her seat. And then Travis comes and embraces Coach Prime, and that was one of the best embraces right there. So the mom's still standing up, and the camera goes away. There's another one that had an angle that was more zoomed out. Is the mom still standing? Yep, mom's still standing. And then Lil Wayne. That was one of the interesting parts. Sanders kid or whatever. I don't know who that person is. So he embraced everybody that was a part of his entourage. And he's wiping tears from his face. Very emotional. All right. But man, I'm going to go back and I'm going to play the video again, but I'm going to have it muted. All right. I have to take it off and then bring it back up because of how it went down. So let's do this again.
Travis.
All right, so I'm going to mute that audio. So Deion stands up immediately. He's like, yeah. Travis Hunter sitting down. Camera's in his face. Mom stands up second. Deion's trying to get up to it. So now she stands up. Boom. Now, some people were like, why did he hug her first? Look, she was there first. Now, I don't know why they were seated like that to where it was her, then the mom, then Coach Prime. But I believe that you should have protocols in place so that the proper people gets hugged first. His fiance should not have been the first hug. You know, then you got the mom, she's there, congratulations. Then he's got the head embrace in the Coach Prime. You can tell that Coach Prime and that kid got a special bond, a special relationship that works for Travis. But his fiance sits back down after the hug. Oh, it's so bad. It's so bad. She needs training. But it's too late. It's too late. Phil said, deep six that hooker. What does deep six mean? I have to look that one up. I'm prior military, but what does deep six mean? I hope my computer don't catch no virus. Bury at sea. Dang. Straight Bin Ladener, huh? Oh, I hope that don't get me flagged. Goodness gracious. Deep six. All right, I learned something new. I don't know all the military lingos, but I learned something new. All right. But look, y'all, congratulations to Travis. But like I said, she needs some training. She 100% needs some training. Everybody else stayed standing. She got the hug and she sat back down. Oh, man, Travis, abort. Abort, young guy. Release her to the streets. I did get a producer sent me something here, and I'm going to see if I can bring that up on the screen. I can't bring it up here, not this way, but they are engaged. She is, here it is. All right. Yeah, this was their engagement photo. I'm going to see if I can bring it up real quick. Nah, I can't bring it up. They're engaged. Travis is going to lose everything that he's had built, and his legacy is going to end at the college level because it's my opinion that she's the distraction. The kid doesn't seem to go out. He doesn't seem to be the person that is out at the clubs or anything like that. He seems like he takes care of his grades. Academically, I've heard a lot of people say that he's a well-liked kid. He's a gamer like me. I like playing video games. After I get done with this live stream, I'm a game for a bit before I go to bed tonight. He seems to be a gamer. He said he doesn't go out. He does his schoolwork. He does practice, and he comes home. That's a good recipe for somebody that's athletic as he is to build a brand, have a good brand partnerships and deals that can secure his future and the generation after him and the generation after him. Travis has the chance to do what's called generational wealth building. The opportunity is there for him. But his lady might be the one that knocks it down. Now, David Cunningham, we are about to end the show. So if you could get your end of show words for us, David, I'd appreciate it. And I do want to acknowledge some of David's earlier comments here. David said over on Facebook, it's just like 50 Cent's ex seeking more child support after already receiving she was 50 Cent was paying over $500,000 a year before she went to court to request more. But after going to family court, the court ruled in her favor. In 50 Cent's favor, and he went from only paying $40,000 a month to $6,700 a month. Which that's still child support is a scam. Think about this. People have to pay income tax on earned income. But you have to figure that child support is paid generally on taxed income already, right? So this lady, or typically, let me just say it this way. I'm going to take gender out of it. The recipient of child support is able to get that money tax-free, and it doesn't count as earned income. So $6,700 a month is damn good money when you're not paying taxes on it. I don't care what type of lifestyle you live. If I was getting $6,700 a month tax-free, I'm smiling. 6,700 times 12, that's $80,400 a year annually just for ejecting a child from you. If it's the other way around, just for skeeting a child out of you, I don't know. My bad. This show can sometimes go off the rails. But David, that's a good point. Right now, he doesn't have any children with her. And I don't want to be completely disrespectful. What's her name? I looked it up in the past, but what's her name? Travis Hunter's girlfriend's name is, or fiance, Leanna Laney. Leanna Laney. Okay. Tragic. All right, y'all, that's the show for today. I'm going to check the comments out here, and then I'm going to sign us off with David Cunningham's end of show message. Wags sit in the back. She just put the spotlight on herself for being selfish. Let me read that again. Wags sit in the back. She just put the spotlight on herself for selfishness. Y'all, I promise I can read. Phil said, bro, better get a vasectomy. She's going to ruin his life, and not in a good way. Absolutely. And as far as with child support, it's based off of perceived income. All right. Yeah, look, I pay child support. It is about to end here in a couple of months. I'm glad I only had one kid. I don't know how people who have more than one kid can afford child support. Speaking about child support real quick, this is sports related somewhat. Should there be a mechanism in place so that the child of a failed relationship or the child of two people have some type of insurance that they're going to have resources that they need to grow and flourish? Yes. Like at a minimum, roof over their head, food, clothing, right? I see people that are paying child support for stuff like karate class and all this other stuff. And I'm like, why do they need to have all of these extracurriculars? I didn't have extracurriculars and I turned out okay, right? I wasn't a part of all these other extracurriculars. I didn't have a tutor, and somehow I still got an MBA. Right? Like, if I'm sitting here and you're making me pay for all of this stupid stuff, I'm going to be salty, whether I got it or not. It's like, why are you trying to extract? And I say that it shouldn't go to the person directly. It should go to some kind of escrow or something that's managed to say, oh, okay, well, if you're the person that makes this income and you have the kid for this amount of time, and you're the person that makes that income and you have the kid that amount of time, it should go into some other account. Like, I should not be able to get somebody's child support because I had a kid with this person and they're paying me child support. I should not be able to take that money and fund a vacation to the Dominican Republic. Shouldn't do it. Right? But it is what it is. Let me see what's going on here. My producer is sending me some information. She said, my producer said, I did have extracurriculars and I am literally paying for Castle's extracurriculars. Yeah, no. Am I though? Like, I'm paying for it directly. I'm not indirectly paying for the extracurriculars. I think that there's that difference in that. Okay. Phil said that, like, when the fathers pay the X and spends it on hair and nails instead of on the kid, it belongs in a trust. Yeah, I mean, something has to change so that there's no doubt the state or anybody's mind, like, that it being for the kid. That's how I see it. I think that there is equity that's needed as far as versus how much you have. Formula does make sense to me, but how it's then taken and redistributed. Child support is basically a redistribution of wealth, and not in a good way. I think there are parents that do it right, and they don't take other back to court every single time. But to put this back to sports, if Travis Hunter has a with Leanna, he's going to find out the hard way. He's just going to find out the hard way that what could have been generational wealth is going to he's got Coach Prime that's right there that can talk about how making the wrong having a kid with the wrong person can I might not have showed it on the sports bar, but at that same last home game, it was also senior night, and some behind the scene footage showed the Sanders kids saying that they were going to try to get Deion's ex-wife and their mom and Deion to be in the same space at the same time. And you saw it was interesting to know the backstory behind it because y'all saw Deion walk them out, but then the moment that they approached their mom, Deion just bolted away. He didn't shake her hand, no embrace, no pleasantries at all because she tried to sue the mess out of him. She tried to ruin Deion's legacy by taking him to court, making some claims. So Deion got like no love for her. And it was interesting. His sons talk about that behind the scenes, right? And trying to say, let's see if we could get a picture together, which is what I think a kid would want to see. They would want to at least see one photo. The parents could be on the opposite to each other, but let's get my parents in the same photo on senior night. That's all I care about. But because of the animosity that happened between them, that's not going to happen. And that's unfortunate. That's unfortunate. I have a daughter, and for me, it was always important. And I wasn't going to sacrifice my happiness to try to make this work, but it was always important that at least our kid had the opportunity to the experience of having both of her parents that were for her. There are fathers out there that can attend their kids' graduations because of animosity that the mom has between them, and vice versa. There are situations in which the opposite occur too, but it's just sad. It's sad and it's tragic. David said, I call child support an 18-year car payment. I wish I could show this here. All right, let's close out the show. Green Bay is beating the mess out of the Seahawks 17-3 into the second quarter. All right. But we're going to close it out here, and I'm going to display David Cunningham's message here. Let's do this while I read it. First of all, I want to thank y'all for tuning in. Okay. Y'all aren't going to be able to see this as big as I can make it, but let's bring it up here. King Smith, your sports knowledge is incredible. Hey, I'll take that. We appreciate the way you make it fun for all. Congratulations, Travis Hunter, on winning the Heisman Trophy. Well deserved. Thank you all for tuning in to the WTF Sports Bar. Prayer warriors, please keep Randy Moss in your prayers as he fights liver cancer. And Happy New Year's. I forgot about that. I think Randy Moss did make it official, but once the photo came out of him having the real yellow eyes, everybody said, ooh, hey man, that dude health is likely not the best because that ain't normal. And then there was some rumors about how it came out, but Randy has confirmed it. He didn't directly say, I have liver cancer, but he did come out and make an announcement that basically said F cancer. And make the announcement himself. Randy came out to talk about it. So, David, I'm glad that you reminded me that he did bring that up. David, thank you for your end of show message as well. That's how we always end the show here at the Sports Bar on WTF Nation Radio. To those of y'all that are going to be listening to this on podcast format, thank you as well. To everybody else, this is our last show of 2024. We will be back on the first Sunday of 2025. I got some great things coming. We're going to keep up with our end of the month sports bar trivia. We've got some amazing prizes to give away. So be sure to be on the lookout for all of our announcements. Tomorrow, we have the Monday edition with our main man, Ice, followed by CQ going live on Pop Culture Warrior on Tuesdays. We got the Smoke Bar on Wednesdays, Sergeant Time on Thursdays. I believe FTX is going to be up this Friday. I won't make it there. And then Weekend Co-ops to end the week on Saturdays, in which our main man, Nemo, comes on and game with all the viewers. So if you're a gamer that also follows WTF Nation Radio, that is open for anybody to come out and play. So for our gamers out there, tune in on Saturdays. Come and join the fun. I came on and played with Nemo yesterday as we did Marvel Rivals, and I had a good time. I think we lost more than we won, but it was still fun. So to everybody out there, Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, Happy New Year, Habari Ganai, and all that jazz. Thank y'all for tuning in. I am the actual King Smith, U.S. Air Force veteran, and I'm out for 2024. Peace. Dun, 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 dun. I don't have music. Bum, 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 dun, dun, dun. Bum, 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 dun, 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 dun. Boom, 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 boom.